Quick tutorial, DaVinci Resolve Multicam. We're using 18.6 and we're going to be taking multiple clips, 2 video and 1 audio clip. We're going to combine them together, go through that workflow, and then show how you would then import that into your timeline. So let's get started. On the cut screen, I'm going to grab and drop them in, change. So there's our webcam clip. Let's see, here's our OBS screen record. And then here's our cleaned up mic. Okay. So first thing we're going to do, we're going to select all those and we're going to create bin with selected clips. All right. So jumping over here, we have our bin or master. Here we're going to create a new timeline. So this timeline is being created under master next to the bin. All right. Inside here, so we're in cut. We've gone back into the bin. Let's select these guys, and we're going to sync clips. All right. Using audio, we're going to hit sync. Analyzing it, should line them up. I'm going to use the standard. And the audio sounds terrible, which is why there's a separate audio file, because we've actually worked on it. We've gone in and used Audacity's noise filter. So here, back to the edit tab, we have our media sync. So we're inside the bin, here's master, here's that timeline. And one thing I want to show you, make sure that we're on the timeline. So this is showing timeline 1, that's what we're looking at. Grab our media sync and drop it in here. Okay, now here we're going to hit the inspector button again, flick back to multicam, and we're going to change from one to the other. Great face. Yeah, looks awkward. All right, multi-board build over here over my shoulder. One of the things that did you notice how the audio changes? Okay, what I want you to get from that is in the media sync, when you change cameras, you change audio tracks too at the same time. Okay, so if you want it to be consistent, like it's a multi-angle, multi-camera setup, for example, an interview, you want the audio to be consistent so it doesn't sound weird. Multi-board build over here over my shoulder. One of the things that I noticed was that that sounds terrible. It keeps changing back and forth, right? Looks. Multi-board build over here over my shoulder. One of the things that I noticed was that, okay, so I'm going to show you how to fix that. First off, we're going to get all of this out of the timeline. You're going to right click on your media sync and open in timeline. This timeline here at the bottom is the timeline for the media sync. You want to do all of your editing, modifications, and changes in there, and then grab that media sync and drop it into your timeline and then do all your cutting there. Okay? So there's 3 different cameras, although the third one there's no camera angle, it's just audio, right? So there's 3 different camera angles. In reality, there's 1 audio track and 2 other camera angles. Okay. So first thing I'm going to do is unlock this. Now holding down the Alt key, I'm going to mouse wheel down to shrink it. Okay, I'm going to grab that track. Before I grab that track, I'm going to hit the inspector button, and I'm going to bump this volume up to about 4. I think that's about right. So we're going to click on it. Notice the orange box. That clip is the only one selected. If I click on him, both of these are selected. If I click on him, both of those are selected. That'll be important here in a second. So Control C, place it over here, Control V. Okay. We're going to unlock the tracks, and now we're going to unlink the tracks. And now we're going to click off, click the track. Notice how these are no longer being selected at the same time. We're going to move that track out of the way. We're going to move that track out of the way. Drop the volume. So they're here. If I need to reintroduce them, I could pull them back, but they're out of the way. Okay? All right, so now I'm going to push this track up here. I'm going to hit home to go to the beginning, hold down Alt and zoom in. Okay, this needs to be lined up with this. So we're going to drop the playhead on here. So we're zooming in, playhead's still not quite right. So bring it as close as it can go, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, line up your playhead. Apparently I'm grabbing the volume. Okay, that's fixed. Okay, so now I want to push him up. So they're both completely perfectly aligned. And then what we're going to do is we're going to look at the clap. Yep. That looks a little off to me. All right, quick tutorial using Fusion to... That looks a little off to me. So we're going to zoom in, hit home, zoom, click here, zoom. And this is why you want to make sure that when you clap, you do so in the view of the camera so you get the audio and the video and you can sync them together. Even though we did the sync, sometimes it was syncing on audio, sometimes it's not perfect, and so you want to double check it. See right there? That's when my hands come together. And that's really when the noise should happen, before that point. So right there. So I'm going to grab this and move it over about there. All right. That looks much better. Holding Alt, zooming out. In Fusion to remix STL files pulled off of any number of parts. There we go. Now, when we zoom out, we can see that there's nothing on camera 3. We don't need camera 3 anymore. So we're going to delete camera 3. We're going to relock the tracks. Okay? Control S. We saved it. We've relocked the tracks. We've saved it. Awesome. Now, we need to go back to timeline 1. Okay? We're going to grab the media sync, drag it into timeline 1. And I'm actually going to do it twice to show you something else. All right? We're going to click off this inspector. We're going to click on here and do multicam. Okay?
First, that tutorial in
here. And about there. All right, we're going to select him and switch over. Okay? Now, why? Flick back to inspector, go to video, drop our zoom, and position. Okay, so if I want to do a little thumbnail in the corner kind of video. All right, so I'm going to click on this and hit backspace to remove that, and I'm going to show you something here. Watch.
The part B's are the parts that come from the front and snap in place.
Notice how the audio sounds different. That's because you're getting both audios. Okay, so you're going to go to your second audio up here, and we're going to mute that out. All right. So now
the part B's are the parts that come from the front and snap in place.
Now it sounds right because we don't have those two audios stacking on top of each other. But we didn't do it in the media sync. We've done it in the timeline. And one of the key things that we did here was we made sure to go in and make the audio the exact same for every angle at the same level, at the same volume, and we copied that audio track that we wanted into both of them. So as we switch from clip to clip, we won't lose it. But if you overlay them, it's important to get rid of the extra audio because the audio will stack on top of itself and it will sound louder than it really is. Okay? So, quick tutorial on how to do multi-camera in Fusion, how to set it up, how to get it into your timeline, and then you can cut as normal and take advantage of this multicam window to jump between your cameras. If you have 4, 5, 6, 7, you'll just jump between the cameras using this, and it's really nice to use in that workflow. Bonus round, I'm going to show you how I did the noise reduction in Audacity to get the quieter clip. So here's Audacity, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the MKV file. So this is actually a video with audio. When that's dropped into Audacity, it uses the FFmpeg to only get the audio. So now we have the audio, which is terrible and sounds terrible. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a section of our audio and make sure that it's just background noise. All right, good enough. Small section, effect, noise reduction, get noise profile. Then Control A selects the entire thing, effect, noise reduction. Okay. It's going to apply. It's going to take a second.
Go here and do the same.
Sounds muddy. Control Z, put it back. Control A, effect, noise reduction, and we're going to do less.
And hit delete, the delete key on the keyboard.
Works.
Made that less complex. There's less triangles involved.
Okay, that works. So we're going to export audio location. Okay, so now it's exported as an MP3. After going through that workflow with Audacity, we've produced an MP3. If you want to put multiple tracks together, you can do that in Audacity's multi-track editing as well. You export it as an MP3 and then import it as I showed in the beginning of the video, and then you can just sync that up with your video clips as we showed throughout the video. So there you go. It's a 2-for-1, how to use Audacity to remove noise, background noise, and also how to do the multicam editing and introduce just an audio-only track into that multicam editing. I hope it helps.